Hey everybody, welcome back to the Royal Read. I am so glad you decided to stop by and see what I'm reading on. But before we get started, you already know, ask you every day. Every day I am on this podcast, I am going to ask you if you want to be a part of this community because it is the best. It is just chock full of the very best people. And if you don't believe me, go in the comments. Go in there, talk to somebody, mingle, ask questions, answer questions, just get involved with the community. And I am willing to bet you're going to come out of there wanting to be a part of it. You know what you need to do to be a part of it? Look down right at the bottom of your screen. Look for that settings button. Go in there and find that subscribe button and go ahead on and subscribe. And while you're in there, hit your notification bell too so you'll know when I upload or when I just want to pop in. And give me a thumbs up to fight my nemesis, the beast, the algorithm. It just absolutely will not give me any peace. But thank y'all for helping me with the thumbs up. I'm telling you, y'all be coming through. Y'all really do. And I appreciate it. Also, I just want to give a shout out to all the people who decide to support the channel by watching the commercials. Let me tell you, it helps so much. It really, really does. And that's why I shout you out every time because I know it's not easy. Sometimes they play the same commercials over and over again. But you know what? Like I said, supporting the channel, it means everything to me. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Also, if you want to be a channel member, you see that button right there? That's the join button. That's for channel members. It's right down there, right below your screen. Yes, that's for channel members. And if you choose to become a channel member and a part of the reading club, you will be supporting my channel to grow, to improve, and to continue. And I will be so grateful, so thankful, so over the moon appreciative to have that support. Also, if you just want to do a one time donation, our super thanks button is on the opposite side. And all donations to the channel is always greatly appreciated. All right, y'all. I do have some shout outs, but y'all know I don't do shout outs unless I am front facing. And I plan on be front facing tomorrow. So, yes, I will be doing shout outs tomorrow. All right, y'all. With all that said, let's get to the read because, of course, we have a lot. It is a lot going on, y'all. And of course, when I am putting the read together, y'all know what I do. I hit these internet streets. Yes, and that's exactly what I have been doing today. I have been up, down, all around these internet streets. And like I said, it is a lot going on with our faves and also with those flying monkeys over there. They never rest, do they? They never rest and they get absolutely exposed time and time again. And we're going to talk about that. But like I said, I've been on all the social media platforms, some more than others. Yes, I have to admit to that because I spent most of my time on X, formerly known as Twitter, today. I did. I didn't really check in on Megan or anything because it was just some interesting stuff going on X, formerly known as Twitter. The squatties are up in a uproar about something that's going on with Archwell. We're gonna discuss that, but and I'm going to give you my opinion on it. And it's my opinion and my opinion alone. And so we're going to talk about that and some exciting news coming out about Harry. We're going to talk about that and just a whole lot of just knick-knack paddywhack stuff. I don't even have an article today because I'm going to keep it as short as I can because tomorrow is, well, today is Good Friday because I'm recording this late. And so Yeah, so I have a lot to do. So I'm trying to get some rest. But I have to come on and see what y'all are up to and give y'all some tea, fill your cups up just to the top with some of the tea I have found on these internet streets. All right, y'all, we're going to start, and I am going to put this up. And yes, 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 Harry and Meghan just keeps on going. I tell you what, I mentioned the Timex watch in my last podcast, and y'all enjoyed it so much. Seemed like I'm not the only old school person who remembers the Timex watch that takes a licking and keeps on ticking, just like our Duchess. I tell you what, she has to. And so does Harry, because they keep coming with the licks, don't they? They never stop. It's ridiculous at this point. And they're embarrassing themselves. Like that rag, the telegraph, and what's going on there. Like I said, we're going to talk about it later, but yes, I am so sick of them. And Meghan and Harry has to keep going because they can't stand still, because these people are relentless. That twisted brother of Harry, that whole Kensington Palace mafia over there is relentless. And so they have to keep moving. And I love that about them. And speaking of keeping moving, Harry just announced that he is going to be with Morgan Freeman and John Travolta. Yes, he's going to be back at the 22nd annual Living Legends of Aviation Awards. Yes, y'all remember Harry was over there last year getting his award. Like I said, I'm going to put it up, and it says this: breaking news on April 25th, His Royal Highness, the Duke of Sussex, will join the likes of Morgan Freeman and John Travolta to celebrate three aerial fire crew heroes at the 22nd annual Living Legends of Aviation Award in Beverly Hills. Yes, and like I was saying, Harry was at this award last year. And I'm going to tell you something. This is very sweet to me. Why is it sweet to me? It's because how the flying monkeys, how the ugly old hags, how the toadies and the minions and those trolls and the rangers behaved last year when it was announced that Harry was going to receive this award. Let's think back on the attacks that they leveled on Harry and this organization. I mean, even to the point where they had a petition to try to get them to withdraw the award from Harry. Y'all remember that? Yes, and they put out a stiff letter. I remember the Aviation Living Legend of Aviation Awards put out a stiff letter and pretty much said to all of these toadies, the rangers, flying monkeys, and ugly old hags, and we cannot forget those stinky, stinky skanks that troll these internet streets to mind their business. And I love it. And here they come back this year and double down on what they said, and now it's having Harry there. They really thought last year that they were doing something. They kicked up all kinds of a stink. Like I said, even to the point, got a petition going. I kid you not. And thought somehow they could sit in judgment of who this private award would be bestowed on. Yes, you remember that. And I'm telling you, those rags over there was on fire with their venom towards Harry, saying that he wasn't even a pilot, all kinds of matter of nonsense that could easily be refuted just with a simple Google search. But yet and still, here they were out here on full display in these internet streets, just cutting the fool on every corner. And like I said, what I really loved about the Living Legends of Aviation Awards is that they made it perfectly clear to all of these old trolls, and I am not going to go through the list, but these the Rangers, and especially those old flying monkeys, that they did not give two shites about what they thought about who they gave their award to. And now, looky, they are doubling down on that, and Harry will be in the house on the 25th. I love it. I love it. All of your effort, all of your bile that you spewed last year has added up to diddly squat, as we say down here in the South. And that means nothing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Harry's life goes on, and he continues with the people that you thought somehow you could influence them to turn against him. But no. And it was no possibility that you would ever turn John Travolta against Harry. That wasn't going to happen. Why? Because let's think back. John Travolta knew Harry's mother. Yes, he knew Princess Diana. And they had a very famous moment together when Charles and Diana came to the U.S. and they had a state dinner at the White House with the Reagans. John Travolta was there and he danced with Princess Diana. And it is a very famous moment in U.S. history. So John Travolta, he knows what Diana went through, and he can relate to what Harry is going through. And it is no way, no way. I mean, they had about the same chance as an ice cube in HE double hockey sticks of ever staying intact as to turn John Travolta. And the people of this particular award against Harry because of John Travolta. These people do not know their history. All they know is hate, jealousy, and envy. And also they know the ugliness of their face. They know that very well because they have to look at that thing every time they wake up in the morning. But I digress. Yes. So this I love. This makes me happy. This has made my day. And I hope it is people somewhere. And I hate to call them people because at the end of the day, are they really? Are they really? Can you be a whole person and do nothing but hate and hate and hate and spew foul stuff all the time on someone that you don't even know? Can you really be a person? I'm just saying. But I hope whatever they are, that this right here gives them a little pain, a little pang of hurt, just a little. I hope it stirs those demons up in their stomach. I hope they have to cry and hold their stomach. I'm sure it's one over there in Kensington Palace is absolutely really feeling defeated because he thought he had really pulled one today. He thought that was really gonna make people feel some kind of way promoting Jason Knopf, his girlfriend. And we all know why. We all know why. And we're going to talk about it later. But I love how Harry is always counterpunching. You punch me, I'm going to hit you upside your head 2 times. You hit me, it's going to be 3 times for that head. And that's the way Harry does. Harry came right on through with this. I bet they say, oh, he put that out. Let's go ahead on and announce that I'm going to be at the 22nd Annual Living Legends of Aviation Awards again this year. That's all I'm saying. And make sure you drop the mic right after. I love it. And I love it for Harry. But most of all, I love it for all those people, all of those trolls, those flying monkeys, the derangers, all the minions and the toadies who really thought that they had really pulled something off last year, that they had made Harry so toxic, you know, just being around him is so toxic that nobody would ever want to give him another award or have him participate in anything like this. But here he is. Yes, here he is the very next year. So, like I said, I love it for Harry, but most of all, I love it for them. I do. All right, y'all. I'm gonna put this up, and this particular squad is said a formidable duo. Tell me she is lying. Megan is gonna be at the Times 100 Summit. She's gonna be the keynote speaker, and Harry is going to be at the Living Legends Aviation Awards, and he's going to be there in the capacity of giving awards to recipients this year. I love it. I love it. And this particular squatty said this: wow, the Susseses have a jam, a jam packed week ahead. Yes, they do. And I love it. I love it. I cannot tell y'all how much I love it for them. I love it for us. And I love, love, love it for the haters. All right, y'all. I'm going to put this up. And the Telegraph wrote a hit piece on Harry. It did. It flew one of their flying monkeys all the way to Lesotho to interview people that had nothing to do with Cinnabale, and got quotes and interviews from these people. One that was a chief of some tribe. I didn't even read the article because it's not worth my time. You know what I'm saying? I only have a limited amount of minutes on this earth, and I am not going to burn any of them reading the Telegraph's trash. But I digress. Yes, the Telegraph flew one of their flying monkeys down to Lesotho to write a hit piece. And they went and gathered all manner of nonsense, brought it back, and compiled an article full of nothing but lies about Cinnabale, lies about Prince Ciso, and lies about Harry. Well, of course, people start digging into it. Squatties start digging into it. And then here we are, found out that one of the centerpieces of this article, this chief, was a liar, that he was not Prince Ciso's brother. And that is exactly what they put in that article, and had to do a retraction. and then had the nerve in the retraction, had the nerve to try to catch an attitude that they had been called out on their lies and their propaganda and their fake news. Yes, yes. I'm going to put this up. And this squatty said this: some people will say anything for money, and we can't rely on the UK media to check the facts. Well, you're right. We cannot rely on the UK media, such as the Telegraph, to check their facts because basically it's no facts in it. They're not about the facts, they are about the narrative. And they went down there to Lesotho, flew all the way to Lesotho. These people are dedicated in their hate and in their mental illness because they flew all the way to Lesotho to find out nothing but to create a narrative instead. And they would find anybody that they could put a picture of and absolutely attach a story to because they didn't think anybody was going to do any kind of research or a Google search at least, because all you have to do is Google search Prince Cecil's family, who is his brothers, who is his sisters, who is his mother, his father. His family tree and his whole family tree can be found on Google. But yet and still, this fevered-minded woman flew down to Lesotho. I mean, just sit there and wrote a pack of lies and really expected it to be accepted as the truth without question. Well, if they hadn't learned, they will learn that those days are over. It is people out here, squatties, who are better at investigating than government agencies. The days of putting things in print and not have them challenged is over. It's over. It is so over for those rags over there. I mean, the Daily Fail, everybody expects it to lie. The Daily Caller, the Daily Express, all of these rags. But the Telegraph had a little shred up. I mean, just a little shred of journalistic integrity. But no, it does not have that. The Telegraph has proven on this particular occasion to be a rag, equal to the Daily Mail, equal to the Daily Express, equal to the Daily Mirror. Yes, just a rag, something to line your bird cage with or to wrap some fish and chips in, but not to read, to believe, and to have any respect for. I'm just saying. And if you look at the post, you'll see that US Weekly, a crap news source like US Weekly, is calling out the Telegraph. And also you can see where the Telegraph put in its weak, its absolute feeble correction. I mean, they should be on their knees hoping that Harry doesn't come for that neck of theirs. And this is what they put as a correction. I'm not even going to read it because it's not even worth it. But basically, they saying that they lied. That they want to say they didn't check the sources or whatever. No, you got what you went for because you went to Lesotho to pursue a narrative. I would not even be surprised if this woman didn't pretty much have her article already written before she landed in Lesotho. She just needed some people to assign the content to. This is how these people are on these rag newspapers over there in Great Britain. But they got called out. They did. And of course, the squatties are going to go through any kind of hit piece like this with a fine tooth comb. And that's exactly what they did. You don't even have to have a fine tooth comb. All you need is access to Google. It is just ridiculous. These people are crazy. Crazy. I'm just saying. All right, y'all. I'm gonna put this up, and this particular squatty reposted the same thing that the squatty did prior, but said this: the bastards, the liars, the haters, may they all have no peace for generations. All I can say to that is, Amen. Amen. All right, y'all, I'm going to put this up. And this particular squatty said this: 1 minute they're claiming Harry was too involved or too controlling at Cinnabale, as Sophie Kendika said. Then the next, the tabloids are pushing the opposite, that he lost interest after marrying Meghan. Which is it? They can't even keep their narrative straight. Where's the lie? Yes, it was an article in the Telegraph again talking about how Harry had lost interest in was it the Telegraph or was it the Mail? I can't remember. I get these rags confused, but it was in one of them talking about how Harry had lost interest in Ballet after he got married. It's always the agenda, always the narrative of blaming Meghan. Meghan is always the problem for those people across the pond. It's always Meghan. They sit on Fleet Street and try to conspire and come up with narratives and twist stories and twist facts to try to come up with a way to blame Meghan for everything. My podcast last night was about an article that Tom Sykes had written in the Daily Beast. Now, I didn't see the letter from the vice president of Ukraine, and so I was going by what it was saying in the article. And Tom Sykes had twisted it so much in that article that he was saying that the letter that Meghan put up on her website that said, that actually had the HRH in it, it was to her. And that's what I was saying. I was saying they were saying Her Royal Highness, and the Vice President of Ukraine had written the letter to Meghan, because if you read the article, it is so twisted. They absolutely do everything they can, even when something is about Harry, they make it about Meghan. And that's exactly what Tom Sykes did in that article, to the point where it had me confused. I was like, and I was going to my comments, and the readers in the comments was saying, no, the letter was to Harry. Meghan just posted on her Instagram. And I was like, because like I said, I did not see the letter. I did not see it posted on her Instagram. I didn't go over there to see it. I was just going by what the article was saying. Little did I know that they would twist it that much. But I tell you what, I have learned. I have learned. And that's pretty much the way it is in this situation. They wanted to figure out a way where they could make Cinnabale about Meghan. About Meghan. Just like they made the letter about Meghan. It's always Meghan. And I think it's coming from Kensington Palace, because we all know that William is obsessed with Harry, but I think he is equally or more obsessed with Meghan. And I saw a picture today of William on the ski lift. And this particular person who posted the picture said that while he and Kate was on vacation, he would go off in the really remote parts of the ski resort, and he would be on the, well, they took the picture of him on the lift alone with his head in his phone, very much engrossed in what was going on his phone. And you know what I thought when I saw him on that ski lift going off on his own with his, head in his phone? I wouldn't be surprised if you could get in that phone. I bet it is chock full of Megan Sussex. I am willing to bet you, because William is obsessed with Megan. And when someone is obsessed like that, it is some feelings involved. I say it all the time. Well, I be speaking for myself because I don't hate them. You really have to have some feelings involved in it. You have to be invested emotionally to hate someone. And I don't have any of that for them across the pond. I mean, they don't rank high enough with me when it comes to interest to have any kind of emotional attachment enough to hate them. And that is why I say William is obsessed, and it's more than just, she annoys me. He is invested. And like I said, this is my guess, my belief, no evidence whatsoever. But I bet his phone is full of Megan, Megan, Megan. Keeping up with what she is doing, reading every article, just looking for any new pictures. I bet yearning deep down, want some of her jam. I am just saying, because we all know that he wants everything that Harry has. And I really feel that that includes Meghan. I'm just saying. Now, we all know his boyfriend, Jason Knopf, got him on lockdown. But all I can say is my belief about William is he's more of an NSYNC kind of guy. You know NSYNC. You know the group with Justin Timberlake. You know the one that sings Bye Bye Bye. Yes, I think William is more of an NSYNC guy, if you know what I mean. And he probably really loves that song Bye Bye Bye. I'm just saying. All right, y'all. I'm gonna put this up, and I found this in People magazine, and this is one of the big stories of the day, that William promoted Jason Knopf to be the CEO of Earthflop. Yes, he did. And the name of the article that what's the name? Janine Henning wrote in People about this is Royal Aide who filed bullying claim against Meghan Markle takes on a major new role with Prince William. Now, my thoughts on this is a hit out at Harry and Meghan. It plainly is. He is being very, very spiteful, and he really wants Harry and Meghan to care. It's hard for me to get my head around why they would care at this point. I'm sure Harry and Meghan is numb to the nonsense that's coming from across the pond, because this is elementary school. This is third grade nonsense. You know, he is working on a cognitive level of a 10-year-old here, because this is clearly trying to get back at his brother for something that he has cooked up in his own fevered mind, because Harry has been minding his business, going along doing what he does best, and that is to be a global statesman, a global advocate. And for some reason, his brother takes that as a slight towards him and continues with this pity pat, you know, knick-knack, paddywhack nonsense that you would play on a elementary school ground. And basically that's what he is, a elementary school ground bully, trying to hit back at someone who has no interest in anything he is talking about or doing. But yet and still, here he is bothering Harry and Meghan. And this is what this is all about. And I'll tell you what's even funnier. While I was on these internet streets today, all of these derangers, all of these trolls, these ugly, ugly, gnarled old hags, they really thought we as squatties was going to feel some way about this. And I told one woman, what way am I supposed to feel about it? I could care less. I'm telling you, if you paid me money, I don't think I could care any less. Why do you feel like this is some kind of hit on us, a hit on Harry, and a hit on the squad? Because we don't care. I hope Harry cares about as much as we do. And that's not at all. You know, I start talking about something else, you know, like, most people who hate on Harry and Meghan are skags, oh hags, oh ugly, 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 old broke down women who absolutely could not get arrested, even if they tried. That's what I talked about. Things I love to talk about to the derangers, just to go for that soft underbelly. Yeah. So I had no interest in talking about Jason Knopf, because I could care less about this, because this is typical mentally disturbed, twisted, fevered mind behavior. Yes, he's so obsessed with his brother and his brother's wife that he's always hidden out at him with something. And Harry and Meghan just keeps on going. They do keep putting the points on the board, keep being booked and busy. I know that drives him crazy. It does. And look, to me, it says more about William than it does about anything. I mean, do you know what kind of despicable human being you would have to be? Because we know the whole story of how these bullying accusations came up for Meghan, and how it was just made up, pieced together, just absolutely put together out of whole cloth. And the person who did that was Jason Knopf. It was. And I'm going to put this up. And this particular squatty said this: an aide who used the names of staff members to file a claim without their knowledge and consent, and then sat on it for 3 years. That's Jason Knopf. That's Jason Knopf. I don't think he sit on it for 3 years. I really feel that this was a last minute thing that they came up with. Now he maybe backdated it 3 years, but when they found out Harry and Meghan was going on the Oprah Winfrey show, I believe that is when this whole plot to kind of cast Meghan in the role of a bully. And my whole thing is this. I hate to say it, y'all, and I'm gonna curse a little bit because this is the way I feel. I don't understand why Megan gives a shit. I would not care 1 minute about being labeled a bully. No, because it Megan is a good person. She is. And I'm a good person. But if I'm gonna go in hard on you, it's for a reason. I'm looking at this. What is it that you have done to me to make the sister girl come out in me to get on your ass? What have you done? Because I know I'm a good person, but I'm also a person who is not going to take any SHIT off of anybody, you know? And I don't see anything wrong with bullying the right person. You know what I'm saying? What am I missing something? Y'all tell me in the comments because I don't see anything wrong with it. And I own mine. It might be the Southern girl in me. Y'all know I am a Southern belle from my head to my toe. I was born in the South and I embrace every bit of it. And I don't have no problem with somebody saying I'm a bully because I know if I bullied you, it was a reason for that. You came for me and I didn't send for you. That's what happened. And Megan has ancestries here in the South. So I know she got a little of that in her. I mean, when is it when did this happen that you have to be so precious to everybody when they are being nasty to you? All I can say is this. If you match someone's energy and that's considered being a bully, well, I'm a bully because I'm going to match your energy every time. If you come with a hostile attitude, I'm going to meet you with that same attitude. And I don't see anything wrong with that because at the end of the day, you're setting the pace. I'm just only trying to keep up. I'm just saying. All right, y'all, I'm going to put this up. And this right here pretty much explains what went on with Justin Knopf, what kind of human being he is. And that's not much. He's pretty much like a slug and a scum bucket, but I digress. And this explains what went on, how they cooked up these bullying accusations against Megan. And I'm going to put it up, and it says this. There is a head of human resources at Buckingham Palace. In fact, she was the individual who was emailed by one senior member of staff at Kensington Palace about their concerns that there had been bullying in the workplace and that Megan was responsible for that. Now, what was missing from the reporting was that the two individuals that this particular boss had worried were on the receiving end of bullying. When they found out that their names had been put in the email to HR, they asked for everything to be rescinded and didn't want to go ahead with any kind of formal complaint. But the coverage made it look as if there was a formal complaint made. And I find it really interesting that this just sit somewhere for almost 3 years now. Here we are as possibly one of the most important moments in Harry and Meghan's post-royal lives with a story that, and then it goes on. But I just told y'all what I thought. I don't think it sit there for 3 years. I think this was a hatched up plan and it was coordinated between Kensington Palace and Buckingham Palace. that they would backdate that stuff and make it seem like it was 3 years prior and that it was reported 3 years while Megan was there. I don't believe it for a minute. They saw that Harry and Meghan was going on Oprah and they knew Meghan had plenty to say. They know how they had treated Meghan and they were terrified about what she was going to say. William was terrified about what she was going to say. So they struck out first. This is what this is. This is not something that stayed dormant for 3 years. This was hashed up on the fly between all those folks over there trying to reserve that monstrosity of an institution, that monarchy over there. That's what this is about. It was not sat on for 3 years. Only suckers believe that. And people who don't know how this particular institution moves. If you're old school squatter, you have sit back for a long time and watched how they do things. And it is almost like you're psychic because people, you be saying, well, they're going to do this and they're going to do that. How do you know that? Because we have sit back and watched them. These people work in patterns. They keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. You think this game that they're running on Megan, this smear campaign, is not been ran before? It was ran on Diana. It was. And it was ran on Sophie and Edward to get them back in line. And anybody else that absolutely come up against that monarchy over there, this is what they do. This is what they do. And, they do it on each other. They sting one another. But yes, this is what this is all about. I will never, ever believe that they sit on that for 3 years. No, they made that up and then backdated. I'm just saying. I'm going to put this up. And this particular squatty said this. New. Prince William appointed Jason Knopf CEO of Earthflop Prize. Reminder, Knopf helped for no reason the male in a lawsuit Megan won without a trial. And where is the lie in that? William has been doing all of these little low down things over and over and over again, using his boyfriend, that flunky, to perpetrate these attacks on Megan. He been doing it and doing it, and that is the reason why I cannot believe. And what I said in my last podcast, they trying to say that Harry is calling Charles, is writing letters, want to try to get a relationship going with him. But we also know that the quote attributed to Harry, saying that this is what Harry said in quotes, that what they did to him, pulling that security and putting his life and the life of his wife and child in jeopardy, was something that he could never forgive. To me, that don't sound like somebody who is trying to engage someone to have a relationship. But I digress. If that's not enough for you, just look at the behavior of William since Harry's been gone. Harry just needs to look at that. To me, that is enough. That behavior, the consistent just coming after him all the time and trying to attack his wife, even when they are minding their business. To me, that is enough to never want to speak to them again. It is nothing wrong with cutting off families when it is so toxic that if you don't, it will cut you to death. I'm just saying, you have to. What if you, I saw this, it was this story about this man who got his arm stuck. He was climbing, he was rock climbing, and he got his arm stuck. And he had to make a choice. If he stayed there, he was going to die because his backpack had failed. All his ways of communicating with the outside world was in the backpack. And so he knew if he stayed there with that arm, he was going to die. So he cut his arm off with a penknife. I kid you not. Now, this has been some years ago, but this actually happened. Sometimes you have to cut a part of you off to save the whole. You absolutely do. And that is what I hope Harry understands. In order to save himself, to save his family, he has to cut them off. He does. Megan did chef's kiss to Megan. And do I think it's easy? Absolutely not. It's not easy to make that decision. I have made that decision in my life. My mom used to tell me, sometimes you have to love some of your family from a distance. It's not that Harry has to stop loving William. He just needs to stop having any kind of contact or relationship with him or having any desire to have one. He needs to love William from 5,000 miles away. I'm sure his feelings will never change the love he has for his father or his brother. But he got to understand what they're giving him in return will kill him. I'm just saying. And this goes on to say, Knopf helped for no reason the male in a lawsuit Megan won without trial. The male did something illegal. The future king allowed this and has rewarded Knopf in several ways since. Why? Yes, that's a question. That is a question. I'm going to say I think I know, but I am going to leave it at that. All right, y'all, I'm going to put this one up. And this comes out something the Telegraph talking about Harry's charity and talking about it's this anti-Israel. They stopped. Now I'm going to say this. It is some talk between squatties on these internet streets about this particular situation. Now, I'm not going to speak much on it because I don't know all of the ins and outs. But y'all correct me in the comments if what I know so far is true. It was a program that Harry and Meghan was funding through Archwell. And the funding was taken away. So they are no longer doing that particular program. But it also it doesn't mean that they don't have other programs servicing people like the ones that they had to pull back on. It's just the fact that they discontinued that one. Now I'm gonna tell you this. I went in my own comments and it was somebody in there. Now I don't think the name was familiar to me, but they came in the comments talking real crazy, saying that they never was going to support Harry and Meghan anymore. And it could have been a bot because we all know they plant stories and then they buy these bots and have these bots to go out to gin it up. And so, like I said, I didn't recognize the name, but they definitely was talking about how they never was going to support Harry and Meghan anymore because they didn't support Gaza, and and just talking really, really reckless. And of course, I blocked the heck out of them because I feel this way. Number one, I didn't know what the person was talking about, and I still don't know the complete ins and out of the situation. I'm just really trying to get my head around exactly what's going on. But this I do know. Harry and Meghan are good people. And one thing that you can depend on from good people is for them to do good. And if this situation was all cooked up by article in the Telegraph, and we just got through talking about how the Telegraph went to Lesotho and cooked up all those lies because they already had a narrative that they wanted to push. And they just wanted to find people to plug in their names and positions to carry that narrative out, which was a bald-faced lie. And so here they are again with this narrative. And it seems like some squatties are, what I feel, fake squatties is falling for it. Or is some bots going around? Because like I said, it was one in my comments today from my last podcast talking real reckless. And like I said what I said to them. And I told them, to me, you need to calm down because you don't sound like somebody who knows Harry and Meghan. You definitely don't sound like a old school squatty. You don't even sound like somebody who knows human nature. When somebody is a good person, they're always going to try to do right by people. And so that is my first instinct when I read an article like this one in the Telegraph trying to stir up hate and trying to peel away support for Harry and Meghan by using the conflict in the Middle East. This is all this is. And like I said, I don't know all the ins and outs, but I do know Harry and Meghan because, like I said, I'm an old school squatty. I've been following this couple for a minute, and they have always been consistent. Consistent at what you ask, for trying to do the right thing, for being good people. So, why would I go running around like Chicken Little or a chicken with their head cut off, as this is what we say in the South, and start pointing fingers and being judgmental towards a couple who absolutely deserve time to figure out if something is going on here. But all I can say is this. I think this right here is some nonsense and just something that's been put together trying to put Harry and Meghan in the middle of a conflict that has nothing to do with them and everything to do with the fact that Meghan and Harry is only trying to help. And all I can say about these so-called squatties that all of a sudden done flipped the script on Harry and Meghan, I don't think you was really a squatty in the first place. Because if you were, you would know better. You would know that you need to get all your facts before you get online saying all kind of reckless things, and especially jumping in my comments saying reckless things. Because at the end of the day, Harry and Meghan has way more patience than I do. That's all I'm saying. And it just seems to me that you was just looking for a reason to turn against them. because Harry and Meghan has done nothing that I can see that someone who really support them wouldn't sit back, shut their mouth up, even if this is a topic that you really, really have, you're invested in. Sit back, shut up, and give them the benefit of the doubt and wait until everything comes out. Because just absolutely going in off of one article from the Telegraph, really? It makes me side eye you. I'm just saying. All right, I'm gonna put this up. And this particular squatty posted something about it. Like I said, I'm not saying that I know all the ins and outs about what's going on here, but I can say I know Harry and Meghan from being a fan and a supporter and a squatty for years and years and years. I know them to be good people. And knowing human nature, good people are usually going to do good things. They're not just going to flip the script and do something totally out of pocket. But yet and still, here it's a lot of people who profess to be squatters are out here in these internet streets talking real reckless and crazy about something far as I'm concerned, they don't know what they're talking about. Because I found this, and this is what it said. It says MMWC was granted £42,000 to help integrate Muslim women. They diverged from the agreement. So have lost the funding. Simple. Archwell is still working with 10 other women charities. No one is silent. The public reaction is a red flag. Who and why now amplifying this non-story? Now, this is what this squatty is saying. And I have no reason to believe that nothing that this squatty is saying is false. If the people didn't live up to what they were supposed to do and got defunded, how is that Harry and Meghan's problem? How is that Harry and Meghan's fault? Like I said, I'm not professing that I know a lot about it. But what I'm saying is a lot of you who say y'all support Harry and Meghan, y'all need to climb down. Because y'all absolutely are really, really making a lot of people look at you with the side eye, and I am one of them. I'm just saying, because everybody don't have to agree with you. That's point blank and up with a period. Now, this is a squatty talking to one who was out here talking real reckless and had put up a post. And evidently they coming in and said that they had went in and deleted that post. And I'm going to put it up. It says, I deleted my prior video because I saw that it was about to be ugly. You can still support the Sussexes and be critical of their moves. I was not bashing them, nor did I have an agenda or crusade. I simply said I was disappointed in their decision. And then this squatty came up under her and said this, you're going to continue to delete a lot of posts anytime you get called out for jumping on a false narrative. If you really support Harry and Meghan, you know that they're constant targets. And most of these stories are built to turn people like you against them. Where is the lie? Where is it? But yet and still, it is some people on here that profess to be Harry and Meghan supporters, profess to be squatties, and one sign of something out of the Telegraph, who just got proven to be a liar and a peddler of false narratives. They put out an article, and here you are posting and being all kind of reckless and disrespectful to a couple that you are supposed to be supporting. You don't even have the grace to give them the benefit of the doubt to figure out what's going on. You're just going to go straight on in with the narrative from a rag across the pond. I'm just saying. I think this squatty right here just put it perfectly. And all I can say to the ones who really jumped on board of this narrative that the Telegraph had put into the water. It was like blood in the water for sharks, because they want to try to get Harry and Meghan any way they can. So they're trying to place them into the conflict in the Middle East, when Harry and Meghan has done nothing but try to help people. Let's not forget, Meghan spent her Thanksgiving dinner with the African women. They were cooking and having a good time together. Those are Muslim women. So what are you talking about? And just because she helped Muslim women, she can't be supportive of Jewish women as well? This is stupid. This is so ridiculous. And all I can say is, if that's the way you're going to behave, maybe you should find something else to do. Go find a hobby like knitting or something like that. Collect stamps. Go find some bottle tops and try to match them together and get you a collection. Do something like that, because you clearly are not squatty material. You clearly do not understand the people that you profess to support. I'm just saying. Now, y'all tell me what y'all think in the comments. Like I said, I don't profess to say I know everything about it. I have not read the article in the Telegraph because, number one, I'm not going to give them a click. I think it's behind a paywall anyway. I definitely am not going to give them any money. But I know Harry and Meghan. I know Harry and Meghan. And I know they ain't out here trying to hurt anybody. And if you think that they are, you need to find something else to do. Like I said, go find you a hobby. Go do some ceramics or something like that and get offline. I'm just saying. All right, y'all. I'm gonna put this up. This was posted by Graham Smith. He is a Republican, meaning that he is against the monarchy. He rails against them. And he posted this and said, the king greeted by boos from protesters at Monday, Thursday service. Yes, he was. I know Charles, it really hurts his feelings every time he see that. We all know he is hypersensitive. And I just love that for him. And then also I'm going to put this up too. And Not My King posted this, and it says, we don't take this serious either. And what he's talking about, Charles and Camilla sit up there and giggled in church as if they were 3 or 4 years old, or maybe even silly teenagers. Camilla is so uncouth. She is just so, come on. It's just ridiculous how she behaves. She has no sophistication. She is so lowbrow. He got her out of the gutter. Well, she made her way on her knees. And when he got her off her knees, she is not very much. Now they say she got the skills. as long as she on her knees. But when she stands up, that's when she's a total disaster. And she does nothing but influences him. I mean, they should be ashamed of themselves. You know, children would behave better. I'm just saying. All right, y'all. I'm gonna put this up. And this particular squatty said this. There is absolutely nothing funny about them Monday day service unless the priest actually started the sermon by stating the truth. A hoe and a hoe came to church and sat in the front row pretending to not be a hoe. That's all I can say to that. All right, y'all. I'm gonna put this People magazine article up. It looks like Kitty Cat and Willie will not be doing their Easter walk. That they are going to spend their Easter at Amber Hall, their home in Sandringham. So yeah, it is a civil war with between the palaces. I do believe it's something wrong. It either that or I don't know what it is, but it is definitely something wrong. I really feel that it's William being rebellious. He is absolutely not paying his father any mind. And all I can say to that is, I don't care. I could care less if they did an Easter walk or not, because when they do, it's so boring. I cannot. All right, y'all, I'm gonna put this up. And this squatter said this. By now, we should know that the press is always on some BS and not to fly off the handle. I'm going to stay over here and wait for William to F up again. And I'm not arguing about charity, hit pieces, or fake siblings. See you later. I'm with this squatter right here. I'm not going to argue with you. Argue with your mama. Because I done said what I had to say about it. And if you really know what's best, you'll leave me alone. I'm just saying. All right, y'all. I will see y'all later. Bye.